For more than 2 decades, home builder Porter Davis has been selling the housing dream with glossy videos like this. But for 1,700 homeowners, it's become the latest building nightmare. The high-profile company has gone bust.
From supply shortages to skills shortages, increases in cost of labour and doing business, add on top of that interest rate rises and inflationary pressures, you've got the perfect storm.
Yeah, that's where we're going to move in, and I'm sorry that I couldn't take you in time for your birthday, but hopefully before your next birthday we would be in the apartment.
Martin has some important decisions to make. Whatever he decides, it's likely to cost him tens of thousands of dollars and won't get his house built any quicker.
The laws have got holes in them, and we're actually in that hole.
What do you make of your dream now?
It's turned into a nightmare.
Sovereign was ordered by the watchdog Building and Energy to fix more than 50 defects. A report released yesterday confirmed they had ignored 40 of them.
I need to show you a number that should concern every Australian who's building, renovating, or even thinking about buying a new home. 3,596. That's how many construction companies collapsed in Australia in the 2025 financial year. A new all-time record. That's nearly 10 builders going under every single day.
No, because it's too hard or too expensive or just beyond this builder's capabilities, it seems.
Rob Martin says the system is weighted in favour of builders, and it's hard to disagree. Niche living got off the hook and it cost taxpayers $40 million.
And the trajectory over the last 4 years tells you everything. 1,793 in 2022, 2,546 in 2023, 3,217 in 2024, and now 3,596. It's accelerating. Construction now accounts for 27% of all company failures in Australia, the highest of any industry, by a wide margin.
The building and construction industry is hamstrung in many respects because of fixed price contracts. They bear the brunt of increasing costs, and if you haven't built that into your tender, you are simply going to be building at a loss.
So in this video, I'm going to break down exactly why Australian builders are collapsing at record rates, who's being hurt the most, and what this means for anyone with a home being built right now. So what does a builder collapse actually look like for the person holding the contract? One homeowner on Reddit described it in 3 words. Builder ghosted me. They'd paid $150,000 for finishes, cabinetry, tiling, fixtures, all paid for, none installed. The builder disappeared. No call, no email, no forwarding address.
Difficult target to meet, and even if they could meet it or could increase the current rates of supply, we still have this really serious issue of what is going to be built and what's going to be the quality of that product.
150 grand sitting in someone else's warehouse, with no legal pathway to get it installed or refunded, without years of litigation against a company that may no longer exist. And here's the question everyone asks when they hear these numbers. How are builders going broke when demand for housing has never been higher? One commenter on Reddit's Aussicon forum explained it in a single sentence that's now been cited thousands of times. They signed fixed-price contracts in 2021 at 2021 material costs.
9 this year in Feb, we were planning to celebrate her birthday in the apartments where we've purchased, only to be told that it's gone into liquidation, and it's caused a bit of a grief for my family. It's ironic that we wanted a sea life change, but turns out that it's my midlife crisis now.
By 2022 to 2023, costs were 30 to 40% higher. They were locked in. That's it. That's the mechanism. Builders locked in prices before inflation hit. Material costs surged over 30%, and every job they completed after that point lost them money. The more homes they built, the faster they went broke. And the deposit protection that's supposed to catch you? It doesn't always work.
Like that up there, let's hope we can get onto it, but it's just that ugly look that we don't want to see sitting in a city for years to come.
A federal government spokesperson told 730 that building ministers across the country are working together to address building quality.
One story that went viral across Australian media involves a father who lost his entire $98,500 house deposit when his builder collapsed. A contractual loophole meant the deposit wasn't protected under domestic building insurance. The Reddit thread discussing it was full of people sharing near-identical experiences. His dream home, his family's savings, gone because of a gap in the insurance framework that nobody warned him about. The scale of the collapses is staggering.
Move-in day was supposed to be in August, but it was pushed back, and now the developer Gosford Property Developments has gone into voluntary administration.
How do you feel seeing it?
As you can see, the apartments are almost finished, and it's so close, but yet we can't move in. So it is frustrating.
Master project management analytics firm compiled a list of the 13 biggest construction company failures in Australia. Probuild collapsed with $5 billion in projects in progress. Porter Davis left 1,700 homes incomplete. Condev, St Heliers, Langford Jones, Roberts Co, Victoria. The list goes on. And those are just the headline names. Underneath them sit thousands of smaller operators, the 3 to 5 person outfits doing the waterproofing, the cladding, the electrical, who go under without making any news at all. To be fair, not every builder is on the brink. Realestate.com.au reported that the crisis is concentrated in firms operating on margins as thin as 2 to 5%. Larger, better capitalized builders with cost-plus contracts are surviving. But the industry standard in residential construction is the fixed-price contract, and that's the instrument that's killing them. But here's what makes this crisis different from anything Australia has seen before. When a builder collapses, the homeowner doesn't just lose their deposit. They get trapped in what the community calls the dual payment trap. One Aus Finance thread discussed an ABC News story about homeowners who are now paying rent to live somewhere because their home is an unfinished shell they can't occupy, while simultaneously servicing the mortgage on that same unfinished home. 2 payments, one for a house they can't live in, one for a rental they never plan to need. And the insurance that's supposed to cover this. ABC News reported that state-by-state consumer protections are inconsistent, incomplete, and in some jurisdictions, functionally useless. So let me walk you through exactly what happens when your builder goes into liquidation mid-build. One person on Reddit documented the entire process in real time. March 2026. Their title, "Here's Everything I Learned the Hard Way." The timeline is brutal. The builder stops answering calls. Then you get a formal letter from a liquidator. Your site goes quiet. No trades show up. Your project is frozen. You can't hire another builder to finish because the original contract is now an asset of the liquidation. Your deposit is in a pool of creditors behind the banks, behind the tax office, behind the secured lenders. You are last in line. And while you wait months for the liquidator to release the site, you're still paying interest on the construction loan. And the supply pipeline is collapsing alongside the builders. ABS data shows dwelling approvals have been in freefall since the 2021 peak. In April 2025, private sector apartment approvals crashed 19% to just 4,999 nationally. The federal government's housing target of 1.2 million new homes in 5 years has delivered just 260,000. Nearly 100,000 behind schedule. The NHSAC, the government's own housing advisory council, has confirmed Australia will fall 262,000 homes short of that target. And here's the part of this story that doesn't get enough attention: the builders themselves. Realestate.com.au ran an investigation headlined "Men in Tears." The article described builders crying in their cars. Men who ran successful businesses for 20 years being financially destroyed by fixed-price contracts they signed before anyone knew inflation was coming. The Reddit thread discussing that article was devastating. One commenter from the construction industry wrote that tradies are losing their super, their personal assets, and in some cases their homes when the builder they worked for collapses without paying outstanding wages and invoices. The subcontractors, the sparkies, the plumbers, the tilers are the last to get paid and the first to lose everything. To be fair, Shane Oliver, chief economist at AMP, has noted that insolvencies may have peaked, or at least plateaued. His words, "They remain elevated, but the trajectory may be stabilising." And the Victorian Building Authority has increased prosecutions against negligent builders, which suggests the regulatory response is catching up slowly. But the ASIC data shows construction still represents 27% of all corporate failures in Australia. Even if the peak has passed, the damage is still compounding. And here's what puts Australia's crisis into global context. In 2024, Australia recorded over 3,000 construction insolvencies. The United Kingdom, with 2.5 times, our population recorded 3,950 per capita. Australia's construction collapse rate is actually worse than Britain's. Canada is seeing the same pattern. Ontario's construction sector is now the hardest hit industry for insolvencies. New Zealand hit a 15-year high in 2026, with construction leading the charge. And PwC's Global Insolvency Report confirms this is happening worldwide, but Australia, per capita, is among the hardest hit of any developed nation. Let that sink in. This isn't a local problem with a local fix. It's a structural failure in how fixed-price residential construction works, and it's happening everywhere at once. So what does this mean for the housing supply Australia desperately needs? Macro Business, one of Australia's most respected independent economics platforms, ran a headline in December 2025 that says it all. Australia will never build enough homes. Their analysis shows Australia needs roughly 240,000 new homes per year. We were building 170 to 180,000 in 2024 to 25. And that was before the latest wave of collapses, and before the April 2026 cost spike, driven by rising global steel and material prices linked to the Middle East conflict. ABC News reported that building a house in Australia is now 30 to 40% slower than it was a decade ago. Even the projects that aren't collapsing are taking dramatically longer, which means every delay adds holding costs, extends loan terms, and keeps families out of their homes for months longer than planned. And the Reddit thread discussing it from a tradie's perspective was equally blunt. When builders collapse, the subcontractors don't just lose that job. They lose unpaid invoices, tools left on site, and sometimes their superannuation, because the company that employed them was also the company that was supposed to be making their super contributions. One commenter on the Australian thread about the 3,000 collapses asked why people think tradies are wealthy. The replies told a different story. Tradies losing everything when the builder above them folds. And in April 2026, just weeks ago, a new thread appeared on Aus Property Chat. Major Australian construction companies entering voluntary administration. The comments were filled with people currently affected by specific 2026 collapses, sharing their situations in real time. This isn't history. It's happening right now. The Owen Analytics chart a 35-year time series of Australian company insolvencies puts the current crisis in its starkest historical context. The 2024 figure exceeds the GFC peak. It exceeds the early 1990s recession peak. This is the worst construction insolvency environment in at least 35 years of recorded data. I should mention, some of the biggest names in the industry saw this coming. The Grattan Institute's November 2025 report, More Homes, Better Cities, documented the structural barriers in detail. And the IPA research note showed Australia is on track to deliver only 60 to 70% of the 1.2 million home accord target by 2029. The supply-side failure isn't a surprise. It's a documented, predicted, and still unfolding structural collapse. So where does this go? The optimistic take Shane Oliver says insolvencies may have peaked and falling interest rates will eventually improve builder cash flow and buyer demand. Some well-capitalized firms will absorb the market share of collapsed competitors. The realistic take, construction costs just spiked again. Due to global conflict, the NHSAC says we'll miss the housing target by over 250,000 homes. And building timelines are 30 to 40% longer than a decade ago. Even if no more builders collapse tomorrow, the pipeline is already broken. The bearish take, the April 2026 material cost surge, is hitting builders still locked into fixed-price contracts from 2023 and 2024. The same mechanism that triggered the first wave of collapses is about to trigger a second one, and the insurance safety nets have already been proven inadequate. If you're building a home right now, the ASIC data says construction accounts for 27% of all company failures in Australia, and one homeowner on Reddit just documented losing $150,000 when their builder ghosted them. Mid-build. If you've paid a deposit on a new build, the viral story of the father who lost $98,500 through a legal loophole should be your wake-up call to check your domestic building insurance coverage today. If you're a tradie or subcontractor, the Reddit threads are full of people in your position losing unpaid invoices, tools, and super when the builder above them folds. And if you're waiting to buy, the macro business analysis says Australia needs 240,000 homes a year and is building 170,000. That gap isn't closing. Here's the truth. 3,596 construction companies collapsed in the 2025 financial year, the worst on record. Australia will fall 262,000 homes short of its housing target. And the mechanism that caused this fixed-price contracts meeting 30% cost inflation hasn't been fixed. I'll be covering every major collapse, every policy response, and every data update as it drops. Subscribe to the Mossin Report so you don't miss the next video. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.